See you back in 5. Somebody type a Y in. Can you hear me now? Tom, I know you said put a question mark. Okay, good. Yeah, I was talking with Praveen. Didn't want to share trade secrets. Joke, joke, joke. But I had it on mute. So if these, it's one of my philosophies of trading, or not my philosophies, that's the wrong word. My experience of trading. People will ask me, what are my win-loss ratio? And I'll laugh at them. Who cares? It's do you make money that matters. And money management is so important. You don't want to be buying a lot of shares in something you lose on and having a big winner and you didn't buy enough shares. And well, in Orange County, we'll talk about some of the things that you can do to make sure that doesn't happen to you. But when I look at my portfolio over time, there are probably once or twice a year that I hit a home run. If I'm lucky, maybe it's once a year. And I'll probably perform like the market or a little bit above. But if you think about it, most professional money managers don't perform above the market, so I don't feel that bad about it. But then you hit a grand slam home run. And my wealth has been built by the grand slam home runs. And I've had a number of them, and I only talk about the ones that I actually told people to buy when I was on live, because if the SEC or somebody came in and said I was making false claims, I could show them the video. Well, I was doing a HGSI video on this candle right here. Is this the candle? This candle, on this candle here. And I said that I thought Generac was looking interesting here. And Generac did like a tandem, but it was a $100 stock. It gapped up the next day, so you paid 110. And this was another one that had a great move. And the point I want to make is they occur all the time. You don't have to find all of them. If you're not in Palantir, who cares? If you didn't do SMCI or MicroStrategy, who cares? Be in the next one. And look at this thing. It went up a ton from that $100. But the message I want to give you is this is what happened to it. It went up, it tagged 500, and still going down. There's absolutely no reason why you want to be in a stock and write it down. So Generac was another one, and it is back down to where we bought it. So round trips are great for air travel. They suck when it's your stock. All right, MRI Pro launch. Yes, this is the advertising part of the show, but I'm teaching while I advertise. My stuff is in HGSI, kind of. It wasn't really my stuff. The defib, the way we built the timing model can be made in HGSI. It doesn't come standard. Most of the indicators are there, not the CPR, not the EMS. HGSI may have, bar none, because of the vast fundamentals that are sitting in there, it may have the best sector industry group stock tool on the market. Wealth charts, this to me is great because without Rob, I never would have had my scanner or thought about doing a scanner. Without Rob, I never would have met some of you on this call. That's a great thing. And it's a great tool, and it does much more than what I do. It's a web-based tool. People, a lot of people own it. He has thousands of people at his summits. He's got educators that work full-time. I can't do everything I do inside of it. I've given him code for some of the other indicators. Maybe someday they'll be put in. It doesn't have the market breadth tools that I use. TradeStation, TradeStation is a trading platform, which means it's free and the data is relatively cheap on the first license. But you have to buy external packages like mine if you want to do certain things. I don't think TradeStation does a great job on the top-down side, and I've tried to build that in, but you need something that has a library of the sectors and industry groups and the stocks in them. TradingView, great program. Their scanner's not here yet. It's here. It's just not as good as some of the other scanners. I love TradingView. My indicators are there. Metastock, except for the fact that it's one more data feed, real-time feed that you may want to buy. Metastock's a great tool, and my stuff will be there soon. And like I mentioned before, what I think Praveen has done and why I'm going to spend most of my time, I'm sure, for the next whatever time I have left trading in Market MRI Pro is because, Praveen, I want to add this. And it gets added. And it makes it better for me. It makes it better for everybody. But it really makes my life easier. So if you have questions on these platforms, if you want to know about purchasing my stuff there, just email me. And I sort of have a loyalty discount, and you'll see that when I go to the pricing. Product demo, now I've been playing it the whole time, but we're going to go back into it right now. And I just want to show you sort of my daily approach to looking at the market. And what I should do is write down the time here, because I might just cut this piece out and do it as my weekend review and put it out on YouTube as such. This runs on one of my machines all day long. I used to have the VIX, and I bet it'll have it the next time I reboot it. I had Praveen add the dollar and Bitcoin, and I may add, the other thing I wanted to add was yield, or because I think those are things that I look at on other platforms during the day. So upper left-hand corner, and this is closing. I just sorted it by one-day close. You can see Russell led, Spider 1.48, Q 1.5 as well. Diamond strong 1.38. Bitcoin was up 0.44%, and dollar was down 0.15%. I could care less what the actual numbers are here. I care about the movement. Over here, it tells me the closing range. Did it close on the upper part of the range or the bottom? So the thing that was in the bottom was Bitcoin. So if you're up but you close in the bottom of the range, it's less meaningful to me. If you're up and you're at the top of the range, that's powerful. If you're down but you closed at the top of the range, that's a positive sign in my mind. I can jump over here and sort by 5-day change and see this was a super week. Look at that. Russell and the Qs were up over 3%. Okay. Over here are new high, new lows. We have positive new high minus new lows on both the NYSE and the NASDAQ. The time frame that probably matters is 12 months, but you can see we're building up. This is bullish, 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 like that. Over here, and these are updating real time. Now, let me say it again. To date, I don't see a need to stream to you real time. If I can be convinced of a need, then we'll have to figure that one out. But your data is real time. You hit this on any of the screens and it will update real time. It's not going to update now. It's Saturday at 12:46 Eastern Coast. All right. There's formatting's weird on this one, and we'll figure it out eventually, but it's the content I care about, meaning these things change sometimes, the width. If I look at the one-day change, what led? Financials, industrials, materials, technology, discretionary are all up 1.5. Communications. This was an up everything day. What lagged? Well, what you want it to lag if you're bullish. Defensive, staples, utilities, and real estate and healthcare. That's a bullish thing. Where do they close in the range? Everything closed at the high. And then I put together a series of themes. Notice how that thing changes when I do that. It's annoying. They were supposed to tell us how to fix it at the platform, the company we buy the tools from, not the what you see, but some of the underlying DevOps tools. But you can see what was weak on the session here. One day change is VIX was weak, silver was weak, renewable energy, gold. So you could see on a daily basis what was strong, but you could also look out 5 days. Over 5 days, industrials, tech, financials. This is the kind of market I make money in because I'm a growth guy. Those are growth things. I love it when the defensive things are on the bottom. This tells you where you finished on the day on your closing range. You can even look back 50 days. And then I showed you this before. Again, these will update during the day. What you really want to see is the index have sold off. and you start to see these things getting positive and positive. Because sometimes the underneaths, the percentage of stocks up, the industries and sectors up, will start to go up before the indexes turn around. S&P 1500 makes sense to use. Why? 500 large caps, 400 mid caps, 600 small caps. But the NASDAQ is different. It's heavy tech. And the NYSE has a lot of banks and energy. I think I need all of them. And that's why I have them there. Heads up display. It's on your computer, on a monitor all day long. And oh, I got a second at work. I'm going to look at it. I hit that, it updates for you. Those that were the early adopters, we knew there'd be glitches. And the glitches were all the same glitch. We get a bad data feed one day. We get server issues. A server goes down. We have duplicated and duplicated and duplicated the servers. And I'm knocking on wood, which being Jewish doesn't have as much meaning, I think. But we haven't had a lot of issues of late. And so that's why we're doing the video now. We felt it was okay to go beyond the original crew that were paid. They're not really beta testers, but they were beta testers. And those of you that are using the program can probably attest that we've sorted out those issues. We're still going to get data issues. I can't control the data provider. We are going to look at bringing in probably that Metastock feed because they gave me the API directions, because that would do a couple things for you. One thing it'll do for you is give you an alternative, this expensive alternative. But I'm not young. Praveen is young. I'm planning on being here a long time. But some of you may have bought Roy Kelly's stuff because of me. And if you bought his eSignal stuff, it required a server to say you own it. Well, I'm suspecting he either passed away or is no longer functioning, because that server doesn't work, his website doesn't work, and his email comes back as unknown, which means the indicators I paid for don't work anymore. So by bringing in a second API, you'll be protected. And that's why I want to do that, to protect you, not because I need one. So I start with this screen. I look at the buckets. We already looked at them. It's easy for me to say. We're moving to the right. 9 stocks above on the NASDAQ, 11 on the Russell 2000, 9%, not 9, but 9%. You see the green here, that's the number above. The white is the number below. The gray surrounding area was yesterday. So you can see we increased a lot from yesterday. But this is a right shift. It's bullish. There's nothing bad about it. When this gets to be 25 or 30, I get worried. This tells me strong or market. The market breadth I look at very quickly. As I started my video, earlier I said, wow, we took out the 200. That's giving me a little more conviction. All right. This is great, but tells me we're probably getting a little bit short-term overbought. When you see that thrust of the stocks, in this case above the 20, the 50 and the 200 have turned up. If you look at when the market gets a pullback, you get very low on these. When you look at when the market gets too high, they get high. That's in the 60. All right. This is extended. It's coming off of a bottom, so maybe I should be less worried, but I'm a little bit concerned. As I said before, here's a graphic. You can see during a bad market, the new high, new lows are negative persistently. And you'll see during a good market, you'll see green every day on the new high, new lows, most days on the AD line and on the up-down volume. And these things are like gold on the bottom. And boy, oh boy, Praveen nailed this bottom, didn't he? Now, that's the good news. The bad news is it's not in any other program, and they don't come very often. We may see if it's worth programming into something else. I probably won't. I like having something that's unique in this product. From here, I jump to the timing brief. You could start in the timing brief. I start with the monthlies, and what I wanted to show you was We are still on long-term buys on the spiders, Qs, and diamonds. The Russell's been junky, and it shows you that here, where it actually went into monthly sell again. The weeklies, we know all of them are in a sell. What's it going to take for this weeklies to turn to a buy? We could do it this week. If we have another strong week, we just got to get another 2% to take out the WMA, and then we got to worry about when the weekly bongo flips, but we're close. And then the dailies, you can see where the dailies are. They're in a buy. This is how you refresh on the dailies. So during the day, every one of these windows I've shown you, you can refresh, except for market breadth, because none of this stuff is calculated until the end of day. So there's really no point. But if I may, it does say refresh here, but I don't think that refresh works, especially since it's the old sign. Then I go, guppy charts are things that I love, but I love it when the market is at a point, first of all, where it looks bad, and I'm wondering what's happening. We're recovery phase, and notice that the short-term moving averages are still ordered the right way. When you get in a market that's in trouble, let's go to 2020. This was a quick one, so you started to see them come together. But in a really bad market, the short-term ones will be on the bottom, the long-term ones will be on the top, and you watch them to go through their progression of reversion as the market gets better. It just gives me additional signals. And I look at the indexes. I'm going to show you a treat. No, a trick. It's Halloween. So I like trend lines. I think anybody knows me knows I like trend lines. Anybody want to guess what those green arrows are? Dun, dun, dun. We got indicators, folks. I promised them. I told you they were coming. We got indicators. Now, only those that will buy John's indicators will have John Person's indicators. I just, for grins, stuck the PPS indicator on to see how it was doing in my market timing. So we still got to build in the John's Mick oscillator and a few other things, but we have his indicators. And those of you that follow John, that have his tools on TradeStation, let me say two numbers for you: 5 and 3,500. 5 seconds to scan 3,500 stocks. If you got his tools and TradeStations, you know what that means. Speed is good. So you can add any indicator you want here. So I'm going to be releasing this version this weekend, Praveen. So far, everything I've showed you will be in the program this week, and I got more goodies to show you. So trend line. So I was watching the spider, and if I was putting moving averages on it, like for example, on all of these, if I was to drop down, and I had to use a different program because I didn't have it, but let's put a 17-day moving average on it. Type in 17. Okay, where's my moving average? Well, when it comes out to you, it will draw a moving average, a 17-day. It may not be activated. Here it is. Just give it a few seconds. And the 17-day was something that a lot of people, this is a weekly, make sure this is a daily chart. Yep. We were watching this for the breakout. We got the breakout, the retest, and then it went higher. So we have a full complement of indicators for you. We'll continue to add them if I think they add to the program. So I got more to show you, Tom. So I go in, I look at the ETFs. I love trend lines. This break here is important to me. Now I'm going to put the 17, the 50, and the 200-day on this chart. I'll probably put the PPS indicator because I have access to it. and I may do some additional things on my charts. I'm probably not going to do that because people who don't until we have it available, the PPS. But so full complement of indicators. So I'll look here, and we had the breakout, and I'm gonna have to extend this one. And that breakout to me is something that's meaningful. I'll play with that later. And on any of these, you can open it up, and we're seeing the same basic thing, which is we're retracing in a downtrend, and we have broken out on the trend line. Now, of course, if I go to the regular version, it's got the moving averages on it already, but I think this is an important breakout here. But if we put that 200-day on, because I think that's the next one we care about, this is a dollar. This is a Russell. Okay, let's just put a 200 on it. So just to repeat what I said, if you own the product or buy the product, sometime this weekend we will release the new version that has all these moving averages and such on it. So if you look at the Russell, I'll believe it when it takes that out. I'm still in, I'm long, as I mentioned. If I go back to the spider and I put it on the spider, I mean, if we were in Palos Verdes Estates 10 years ago or whatever, this is when Ian would say, how about a round of applause for Praveen, because he really has exceeded my expectations. Why did this change color? All right, I probably because I'm still doing the trend line. It's not doing. All right, I gotta probably go in here. Well, I'll do that. Yeah, if you open up the little gear, you see everything. So let's just make sure 200 is here. All right, we got a little bit of work to do to make sure everything's set up. I think the problem is I have an old version that I put all these things in. Here's your 200. We're almost there. We break above the 200, I'm going to get a whole lot more bullish. And I'm bull right now as it is, but I'll be much more bullish. And like I said, I'll probably start using margin. Commodities, I can do the same thing. Gold is broken down after all-time highs. Why? Because gold is a risk off instrument. It ran up with the tariff talk. Silver, which has come down. Oil is struggling up. It's yeah, this. All right, we got another issue. Praveen, you changed the titles. So this is Software Development 101. You're not supposed to use a staging environment, but I want to show you all the new tools. In the working version, it tells you what they are. And easily fixed. We'll get that fixed before it comes out. That's why I'm using it. But you got oil is struggling. Natural gas, if I put a 200 on and pull back to the 200s running again. Here's 10-year rates and 30-year rates. Kind of the opposite of gold. When risk is coming back in the market and people are feeling better about the market, we're seeing the 10-year and the 30-year go higher and the gold and silver will come down. And then now I'm going to go into ratio charts, and you can see what we talked about before. Communications look strong. Financials got the white line. Technology's moving up, and what's weak is staples. Industries look good. Utilities weak. Real estate weak, and healthcare. I think I'm going to ask Praveen to reformat this, and I'm going to put the on the bottom. I'd like to put staples, real estate, utilities, and healthcare, because that way we'll put all the defensive ones together. I think that might make it easier. Look, the more I go through this, the more I have I'm presenting it, the more things I see to fix it. So then I want to find my A trade. So remember, I'm not a counter trend, so I'm going to take that daily trend as up. I am not convicted. I'm not all in. I'm not loving this market and going crazy because I still got the 200 above me. I still have overhead supply. I'm well off the highs, but a break above 200, I'll become less worried about this being a counter trend. Now I'm going to go show you, let me take a quick drink, how I look at the sectors and industry groups and find some stocks that look attractive. Now, when I gave the last launch, the pre-launch, I said, we're going to have fundamentals. We got them. Multiple custom watch lists. We got them. Cloud savings of personal settings. We got them. So that means any computer should give you the same um, picture as the one you used the last time. Trading view connectivity. We got it. More charting windows. I have to show you that. Guppy charts. We got those. I showed you. Seasonality is coming. Custom ratio charting is coming. Um, we've got news. I'll show you that. We're working on divergences, building in your own tools, and we're soon to launch John Person publicly as our first educator. We still got to finish what's on that previous list. We're launching John's probably during the June meeting. We're going to add future symbols and give you a couple of intraday time frames. Power trend, which is an O'Neill thing, we're going to add that. It's in our trading view, so it shouldn't be a problem, and more. Power trend, stronger than usual uptrend, comes from IBD, mimicking O'Neill, and this is, it's open for anybody to code, I think, because it's published in the public domain, and it's nothing fancy here. EMAs and time. So this will be in the program soon as well. We'll come back to that. Now let's go back to, let me just review with you because I thought we would go longer than we're going to go. I'm going to spend maybe, my plan is, I always tell people it's going to be 2 to 3 hours. We're at 2 hours now. Another 15, 20 minutes showing you how I do this in TradeStation, HGSI, and Market MRI Pro. We'll develop a list of stocks, and I've already picked the one that I'm interested in on Monday to do the workup on, and that's Royal Caribbean Lines. And as Mike Valencia knows from history, I always make the mistake. Um, Ellis, that is my biggest wish to get Q tools here. Sagar seems to be at that point in life where he's retired and just has a newborn child. I don't think he's got the energy or interest. But boy, do I beg, because I love the Q tools in here. Um, Let me get back to where I was. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Royal Caribbean. I'll do that for the workup of what to look at on Monday. So we've identified that we want to be in the growth industry groups, technology, communications, financials, and industrials. That's what looked good to me. So I'm going to spend a little bit in each of the programs. Let's go to HGSI. Let me tell you, I've said positive, 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 positive. Let me give you the negative. And um, I'm very respectful of HGSI, and I'm very frustrated by the negative. I have taught tens of people, probably hundreds of people over the last 20 years how to make money using HGSI. It's a learning curve. It's like you can't go in a Cessna little jet and fly it on Monday because you're a smart person. It's hard work. Well, so is HGSI, and that I think is the downside. This is what you get when you open it. I'm going to go into the designer, and I'm going to go to something that I don't know if this came from Rob Brown, but it's something that's standard, Major Markets Plus. And now I'm going to open up this thing called the Warehouse View. I've got 39 industry groups, indexes. I'm going to look at it by top down, and it's going to rank them. And it told me mid cap, the Dow, small caps, NYSE are the strength, the Russell 2000. That is new. This is a rotation, not just into growth names, but these are new. This is not what's been on the top. What's on the bottom are 100, 500, and 1500. So not only has this market started to run, that suggests to me that we're broadening out. Okay? So and then I'll look at the indexes. I'm not going to do it right now because we've looked at them enough. Then that industry tool is top notch. I go to industries and I can look at them through the top down. But what I want to do is look at force because 2-day force. And Praveen, I might want to give the option between my modified force and the regular force so it matches up more here. The modified force is where I try and neutralize stocks that have big volume and look at how big of your volume is it different than normal, not just your absolute volume when I calculate force. The thing that comes to the top is, so it's got the highest, and this is combining a couple of different things, but it's really based upon the force is cruise lines. I right click on the cruise line, change to industry groups. I open that, the chart will open up. That's a weekly chart, so I want a daily chart. And then I want to open up next door, the weekly chart. And Carnival, that's pretty low, below the 50, so I'm not interested. Sometimes you got to double click to make sure they're in the order that's up there. Fine. I can change this to show me some fundamentals. And then I'm Carnival too far down. Looks like it's reversing. Looks interesting. Is there something better? Yeah. This one's broken out. This looks like, this is what I'm interested in. This dash line here I put is actually the 100-day moving average. I don't know if anybody in the world uses it. This is the 500 and this is the 1,000. And I hate markets when we test the 500 and the 1,000-day moving average, but we do. So I liked Royal Caribbean. I can go to the next one, Norwegian. By the way, this is a squeeze. That's a MOBO breakout, similar to what I have in mind. That is a Kahuna, similar to what I have in mind, but it's not filtered for force. That green line here is a John Person buy, which is here. Again, it's a paid indicator once again. And I would look at those. So the one I liked best was Royal Caribbean, and I wrote that down. And the other one I liked was probably Norwegian. So let me just look at that again. If I'm going to buy something, this one is right below, and this is for Praveen. This red dash thing here is a chandelier stop. I have built a trading system that just goes long when we cross over the stop. So we're right below the chandelier stop. We had a person buy a MOBO breakout, excuse me, a Kahuna, a MOBO breakout from a squeeze. So I like Norwegian. Do I want to buy low to go higher? Look at the earnings per share growth coming in and look at the PE. And then look at supply and demand. That's a lot of demand. Versus Royal Caribbean, I'm buying from a higher point to go higher. The only reason to buy Royal Caribbean, it's also got good fundamentals versus its PE, is that I got to break above that, I got to break above that, and I got to break above that before I look as good as Royal Caribbean. All right, I'm done. I go back. Airlines, right click. Now, the sort here is not just by force. You can make some very cool custom sorts in HTSI, and this is looking at stocks and groups moving to the upside, something I created, hence my name. Like I said, I do have some stuff in here a long time ago. Um, I thought, I'm just going to cut to the chase, I thought of all these for the same reason I liked Norwegian lines. It's taken out a chandelier, it's got a person, it's got a pocket pivot, it's got a Kahuna, it's got a MOBO breakout, it's just down in the pattern. I thought Delta looked good. And I will go through the top 10 of the pharmas. The one I liked most was AbbVie. It's closed above the 50 here. How do I know it's above? Because the percentage of change from the 50 is a positive number. It's 6% above the 10-day moving average, 3.8 above the 50, and 5% above the 200. It's above them. It's got a great relative strength rank, and it pays a dividend. And it's got okay growth, not great. The reason it had this come down, I know this company from my day job, it's because they had a drug, Humira, go generic. So one program allows me to filter down. If this would open up for everybody, this view, when they started the program, and it wouldn't just be this toolbar, I think they could sell like hotcakes. In TradeStation. I don't find a good tool in TradeStation, and although I've developed one, because I don't have a zillion watch list. I don't have every sector built out, every industry group built out, every ETF built out. And therefore, it's very difficult for me to look at sector rotation. I could look at it from ETFs, and I do that. But I just wanted to show you the scanner in TradeStation. This scanner combines my stuff over, some of my stuff is here, and then the Q stuff into a single test. You run this once, it's 2,000 plus stocks, and if I want to find stocks that give me that wedge pop, I go to Filter Results, Open, and I've already built one. It's called Pull Back and Uptrend with a Q Breakout. And then I hit OK, and it's going to filter this down. And this is the most of those I've seen in a long time. Now, I'm supposed to be able to copy that, but I don't think I've got the latest version running. But what I would then do is start looking at these and looking at any of them. So text looks really interesting to me, and we'll go look at it. I can look at it on a bigger chart. Whoops. We get the right. This thing is all messed up here. So text and a monthly is in. This is Summit still because I don't have it hooked to it. Let's just type text in. I didn't prepare. Sorry. I did prepare. I just didn't get everything. Well, I just lost interest in Terex Corp because it's got a lot of resistance to get above. But I would basically run that scan every night and go through the list. Fulgent is one, again, it's going to have a lot of, it's been pulled back. We've been in a market that's been selling off. But I know this company. It's in the same business as Tempest. Different business, but similar. Now this one looks interesting to me. There's nothing above this to say I got resistance on the daily. On the weekly, it's just pulled back to a trend line. And here's got a trend line breakout. And what this scan is looking for, it's looking for stocks that have my dots, gap, volume, breakout, momentum, the same as in every other program, the same formula. This is when it was in a squeeze. I ignore the high jump when I'm touching the 200. Here is the breakout in relative strength. It's about to break above and move OBV. Both the bongos just turned blue. This was the red showing a pullback in this uptrend from here. The weekly's blue. I'm writing that down on my list, FLGT. And I would basically go back to that prior one. And actually, let me just make my life easier. And God, I can't believe I've kept everybody this long. I just need to learn how to market so I get more people. But I knew this would be a small group. There's a lot of competition today. I really appreciate you taking your time out to be here. That's why I do this stuff. As my wife thinks I'm crazy, I like giving back. And I might look at some of these. I think Lifetime Holdings may have looked interesting. So I will go through, and again, I'm looking for things. All right. Monthly, it's certainly in an uptrend. Weekly, it's in an uptrend, but get a little bit of a flag. And guess what it just did on the daily? A wedge pop. This is the EMS. Breakout momentum from a squeeze. Breaking positive on both relative strength and OBV. Chicken, chicken, we got a winner, or whatever. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So that's what you want a scanner to do. It's not telling me that these are all buys. It's telling me to go look at them. This is the one I really wanted to work up. And then I thought about all the time that Mike Valencia is in the room. And I pick a stock that looks like this, go, oh, this is great. It's in an uptrend, pullback, breakout on the weekly, and it just took out resistance. Oh, I love this. And then I looked at their option volume. There's no volume. You can't do the workup if there's no volume. So that's TradeStation. Now, how cool is that tool. And what did I combine? I combined squeeze, squeeze release, my dots, EMS, CPR, green candle low, high, red candle low. No, it's supposed to be green candle low, red candle high, but oops. The bongos and how long since it changed, relative strength, how long since it's changed, your score for your high-low jump, your relative strength in IBD language. That's my stuff. And then pullbacks, breakouts, bounces, box, touches, reversals, headwinds, and flow from Sager. This is the perfect tool, except it's on TradeStation. And I'm not dissing TradeStation. If I run 400 stocks in the scanner version of this, in the TradeStation version, in the radar screen, and I'll show you, well, I'm not going to, but I have, this is up here. This is the radar screen version. This will update real time during the day. That's awesome. And it tells you the number of bullish signals of his, the number of bullish of mine, a lot of the same things. If I put more than 300 or 400 stocks in here, which I know is a lot of stocks, but that's, I like scanning, it will turn off during the day. I'll get a blue box or box will open up saying TradeStation error. I run this thing at 405. I created my own scans, which I share with you. It's money in the bank. Of course, there's no guarantee that if you use my software, you'll make money. I say that to make the SEC happy. Which leads me to Market MRI Pro and the JAS layout. This is my layout. Right now, you can't change it. We will either open up indicators on here because I want them for me too, or we'll give you the ability to open up a second version of this. My layout from top to bottom, high-low jump. This tells you the last score. Down here is candlesticks, obviously. If it's an open candle, it means it closed higher than it opened. If it's a white candle, it closed up on the day. So you could have open red candles. It just means that they closed higher than they opened, but it was still a down day. And you could have a solid white, which means it was up, but it closed lower than it opened. You got the daily bongo on top, the weekly bongo on the bottom. You got regular volume, you got the EMS, the CPR, the dots, the squeeze, the PSAR, red candle highs, and they only matter here because it's in an uptrend, and then green candle lows that matter in a downtrend. Here's the relative strength versus the spider, or the relative, and then here is the OBV. Here is my list of stocks I call the impulse. Now let me show you what we designed for me. Top down. I have let me go back to the impulse for a second. This doesn't happen. I purposefully, and I want you to think about this question and answer it for me. Am I better off dumbing down my resolution, and this is 2560 instead of 3K, or I can do it 4K? Can you see this clearer than you can usually see my videos because I dumbed down my resolution? In HDSI, it makes it so I don't get to have big windows. That's why I use the high resolutions. Just think about that, and when you have a chance, let me know either. Okay. So I got the 200, I got the 50, and the 17-day. This here is similar to the IBD relative strength, and you can see the number. If you think you can compress it now. Then you used to be able to do that. That's a new thing that we added. The dots, all right. So on the impulse, what are the 3,518? Those are 3,518 stocks from the NASDAQ plus the NYSE plus the Amex, pre-filtered for $1 and 100,000 shares. Everything else is in here. So I got crap and I got expensive stuff in it. Now I don't want to buy a $3 stock, but I decided to leave it here because I want the complete picture. So on this impulse indicator, let me just make this bigger for a second for, and I'll crunch it back. I think I can make it bigger. Yep. I have symbol, last, change, and percentage. When you hit this during the day, it will refresh during the day. It is super fast. It will refresh with a quote that was real time when you asked for the data. It'll take 5 seconds or so to refresh. Okay. You'll have to, your chart, you want to refresh your chart, go hit the refresh. How many up dots? These are stocks that had 5 up dots. How many down dots? Age is the bongo. How long is your bongo, green or red, and for how many days or how many weeks? So we should be at 1 week, which should be 5 days on the weekly, and we should be at 17 on the daily, according to that. These are 3 different modified force indexes, 2-day, 5-day, and 13-day. To rank them, maybe 2 days is too fast for you. You want it slower. Relative volume, how did today's volume at a given time during the day compare to the regular volume at that time? It'll bring some of these high volume, crazy moving stocks to the top. All right, I'm not interested in this stock, but you can see the massive volume. Maybe I should be, but I wouldn't have known the stock the day before. The OBV is just asking a simple question. Is the OBV above the moving average? It's green. If it's below, it's the red. No one could give a crap, excuse my French, of does this value mean anything to you? Doesn't mean anything to me. It's how is it above or below? Green above, below, red, and how many bars to the cross? The relative strength, again, it's a meaningless number. How many days? If it's green, it means you're above. If it's red, you're below, and how many bars? Daily and then weekly. That's all the things I scan for. So I could, there's a way to filter for it, and that'll be the 201 grad school course because it's hard as heck. But you can filter each of these and create your own subscans, and we're developing the ability to save them. Now, top-down guy, I want to put those 3,500 stocks into sectors. So if I click all the sectors, you can see all the stocks are in the sectors. If I click all the industry groups, you actually pick up a few more, interestingly. I'm not even going to ask why. You must be getting some of the lower traded stocks. So top-down guy here. What are the ones that I said were working? I said technology, communications, and industrial. These here are the 1,145 stocks in those 3 sectors. This are the industry groups in those sectors. Let's take the biggest moving ones by percent. Let's take the top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've now chopped the 3,590 stocks, or whatever it was, down to 267 stocks. I can either rank them by percentage change. I could rank them by short-term momentum. And I could start, that one is interesting. That is my tandem story. This will probably go to 0 because I just said that. Why is it interesting to me? Because it's a big pullback, bottom fishing. It's got a couple drops, squeeze, relative strength looks good. I'm not saying I would buy it. It's a low probability purchase, but I might do a little bit of studying on it, a little bit more. Okay. Let's say I don't want the cheap stocks and the low volume stocks. We're going to go back to this in a few minutes, but I can filter out price greater than 5, volume greater than 500. 267 is now 156. So that means Agrify is a low volume stock. I don't buy things that have no volume. So I might just go through, no. Well, Red Cat looks like, Red Cat is interesting for the same reasons. I want things that are Rigetti. See, this is where we're in, a market that's pulled back. These things have now gone sideways, and they're getting ready to run. This is, I think, one of those quantum computer plays. Another quantum computer play. Another, that's three quantum computer plays in a row. Anybody think we might want to look at one of them? Going down. I don't know this one. Any bet it's a quantum computer play? And I'll go down and look for anything that looks good. Again, just we've had so much rotation. Just because it's leading now doesn't mean it's giving me good setups. And you see how fast this is? This is not sitting on my computer. This is from the cloud. Praveen's a genius. Um, I don't like this pattern here, but this one's a breakout. It's near the highs. It had four dots if you include the CPR, relative strength and OBV. It was also, by the way, in the trade station thing because his breakouts pick that move out right there. That one actually might be interesting. I can make it look less of that, less. I could squeeze it down, but and sometimes I will do that. And you can keep going down the list and see if anything else looks good. ATI, interesting. Spotify, this is a leader. I don't get this company. I don't know if anybody pays for it. I guess some people do. But that actually is a beautiful stock. Long-term uptrend, pull back to the free parking and breaking out here. So top-down investing at its finest. So that's what one way of doing it. Another way is to let's kill the sectors, let's kill the industry groups, and let's just say, and now we got a lot more. Okay, let's just look at all the industry groups and let's take the top 10 by move. This one, Praveen, is one stock. This is a data provider problem and it's less than $5. It's filtered. So let's go trucking, shell companies, which are SPACs, forget that, education, manufacturing. All right, so here's 114 stocks already filtered for 5 and 500. And we can do the same thing. And real quick, I'll flip through these and see if anything gives me a pattern of same things. Those quantum computer stocks are probably telling you a message. Airlines. These things are beaten down, no reason. And then the education stocks, LAUR is breaking out. So again, I'm going to go through and it doesn't take long. So in a market that's trending, you don't see that much rotation of the industry groups. This is interesting. It's another education stock. Here's Delta. Delta looks interesting to me, but it's way down in the pattern. So I think this tool is great, and it's probably the and I really hate to say this because I think it's a big brag. I think it's getting as good as where HDSI is, and to me, that's the gold standard. Now, we also have the I can't help myself. And what is the I can't help myself? I can't help myself because I want to buy the shiny new object. So here's your 3,500 stocks. Here is the shiny new object scans. Let's eliminate $5 below 500,000. And let's look for my 2-day Momo up. We're not going to find anything good, but techs, all right, it's 2 down in the pattern. I already talked about it, how many trend lines we can draw from each of these that it has to break, but it's probably going higher. ECVIT 2 down, far down. LAUR, that one looks great. What is this looking for? 2 forced kahunas in a row. This one has 3 of the last 4 days. Wow, that's powerful. National Fuel Glass, I love this thing. I got all excited, but I can't work it up for you because it doesn't trade enough options. Elm, less exciting. Sunstone. So there were a couple here that looked really good, and a bunch that don't. Probably the best two are LAUR and NFG. And that's one scan. All right, well, let's do another scan. Let's kill that scan. Let's drop this down. Let's do pullbacks and uptrends. Price over 5, volume greater than 500, hit OK. And let's rank them by up. Up. Fulgent. Didn't we see that in HGSI? Instacart, Adaptive Biotech. This is one that I like as well. Look at this guy. It was in a sideways Darvis box like move, and it just had a big breakout. And of course, if we had Sager's auto trend lines, it would tell you it just broke out as well. Is it getting extended? Yeah. Look at the high jump. That would be another reason. Here's your Tennyson again. Look, we see the same stocks no matter what scan we look at. It tells you what stocks are working. Another education stock. Liquidia, this was going to be my second choice for working up, but I decided to go to Royal Caribbean because I think of all the stocks, it's probably the one that has the best chance of going up that I identified. So another sleeper. This is it's an interesting pattern, but notice they keep getting higher with each move up. I know the guy that owns this or started the company. He's the same guy that started Groupon. He started a cancer diagnostics company and AI company because his wife got breast cancer and they had three different opinions of what to do. And I think he felt it was his responsibility to create a business to fix it. I applaud that. Now, one last thing I want to show you here before we go to the options. And any questions you put them out. Um, you don't have this. You will soon. Boom. Layout name. New. Webinar. Do you want the list on the top, the right, the bottom, or the left? Let's put it on the top. Will be different. How many charts do you want to open and what format? Let's do 4 in a box. We want to sync the symbols, and we're not copying, create a layout. Boom. So now you can put whatever stocks you want in here or indexes. You've got everything but JP until you pay for JP, including Anchor VWAP, which we just added. Still got a little work to do on it. You will be able to look at the impulses. There you go. It just built. It doesn't take long. Watch this, folks. One. Oh, wait. We started out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't let me down. 5. 3,518 stocks scanned for John Person's work daily, weekly, and monthly. Now, I don't know if any of you have his TradeStation stuff, but Praveen killed it. I've started to build out some of the workspaces of John's stuff. It looks great. We're working with him to add some additional things like that. His J. McClellan oscillator. Praveen and I this weekend are going to work for John, and we're going to build out the scans for John, just like I have my scans. And we're going to have to figure out what the business model is. Yeah, it would be 5 minutes, then it would crash. There you go, 5 seconds. It took a little longer because I was talking maybe. But, I mean, and this isn't, I'm only showing the top and no, they're all done. I mean, it would be really cool, Praveen. See, this is so mean to Praveen, but so good for me because I have him right here. What would be really cool is if I could hit that symbol thing, highlight everything, right click, and it's a export to HTML file that I could export this and make a spreadsheet so I could archive it. I copy and paste it. So there's a way. All right. So I hope you like the updates. I promise we get you updates. I don't let Praveen sleep anymore. Everything except for the JP stuff will be out sometime this weekend. We got to clean up those names and a few other things, but we're not done yet. I will hope that Sagar may change his mind, but I respect Sagar and his concerns. This is a trading app. It's not an indicator. Therefore, it's much more expensive. Self-contained, requires multiple licenses to build, ongoing costs, but we can control everything. And if one of you has an idea of what we're missing, and it's not proprietary, meaning somebody has published a story of the code, or you have your own code, yep, you'll be saving your custom filters soon. That's on the block to be done. Indicators are very different. I sell my indicators, they're much cheaper. You code once and you forget. If they change the platform, I got to do a little bit of work. I don't have to pay for anything, and I don't have to support you as much. Believe me, in the beginning of this, when we had bad data and server issues, I'm texting Praveen all night long, all day long, and he's got a day job too. What are we offering? Market ready tool, full set of my indicators, all updates and improvements as long as a subscriber. Anybody that brings in their new, if they want to sell their tool sets, that's fine. We have a business relationship for that. We'll fix things in 24 if we can. Look, there's one programmer. He's on this call. He even answered the question about the custom filters, unless I have other things I want done. The data is real-time update. You just have to scan it to update this second. Trading view indicators are included, but you have to have trading view, and you might need a subscription because of the number of indicators. Quarterly training like this will be offered to all owners. And by the way, the first half of the first 2 hours, that's what I do for quarterly training, but we answer your questions. Stacking discounts. If you bought other things, I give you discounts. If you don't have any stacking because of the launch, I'll give you $300 off, which includes $100 for being part of Top Down Trader and an additional $200 off. It's $19.99. It sounds like a lot of money. It's not. I own every program on the market, and for what you get, and you get Praveen and I think it's a fair price. If you don't have any of my other tools, it's going to be minus 200 for the launch and a minus 100 for being in my group. So that's $16.99. We can put a big X here. It's going to be $5.99 or less, probably less for the next year. Why do you have to pay every year? The cynical answer is because you want to keep us around. The other answer is for the data. And why is that a cynical answer? Remember what I said about Roy Kelly? How about Magenta Trader? Anybody spend $5,000 to $10,000 on lifetime software and data and it doesn't exist anymore? How about Best Choice software? Anybody spend $10,000 for lifetime software and data? Well, when you pay once and people stop buying your product goes away, and the people that paid a lot of money are screwed. So we aren't charging $5,000 or $10,000 for a lifetime product. We're charging $19.99. You own the platform. You get all the updates included. When we build out the Metastock API, we'll probably still require you to pay something if you don't use our data, maybe $2.99 if you're just getting the updates and the maintenance. And then you can bring your own data. That's not built in yet because there's no other data sources. That's important for me to do because my commitment to you is if I go away, if Praveen goes away, we want the program so that you might have to get data elsewhere, but the program doesn't die. Nothing pisses me off more than my Roy Kelly store, Magenta Trader story, and Best Choice. I'm not going to be that guy.